A young soldier with just weeks to live had one final wish: to meet Donald Trump. When that wish came true, it turned into a moment that would inspire millions. What happened next shocked everyone and became an iconic moment in history. Watch the full story now. In a small, quiet town on the outskirts of the United States, a young soldier's wish would soon capture the hearts of millions. Sergeant Jack Miller, just 22 years old, had already seen more than his fair share of life's struggles. He enlisted in the Army when he was barely out of high school, driven by a desire to serve his country and honor his family's military legacy. But his journey, filled with courage, duty, and sacrifice, was about to come to an unexpected and heartbreaking end. It was early spring when Jack received the devastating news. He had been diagnosed with terminal cancer. The doctors told him that, despite his strength, his body would not be able to handle the rigorous treatments anymore. The prognosis was grim. He had only a few months to live. The cancer had spread, and there was no hope left for a cure. Jack, known for his optimistic spirit, did not take the news lying down. Instead, he made the decision to live his remaining days with dignity and honor, refusing to let the disease define his last moments. But there was one thing he wanted more than anything else: a meeting with the one person who had always inspired him during his time in the military. That person was none other than Donald Trump. Jack had grown up hearing about Trump's leadership and his commitment to the military. During his years of service, he admired Trump's dedication to veterans, his bold decisions, and his support for the troops. Jack knew in his heart that if he could just meet Trump, it would give him peace in his final days. It was not about politics or policies. For Jack, it was about meeting someone who had made a profound impact on the lives of so many servicemen and women. His family was devastated by his diagnosis, but rallied around him. His mother, father, and younger sister never left his side. They supported him through his hardest days. But when Jack expressed his wish to meet Donald Trump, his family wasn't sure how it would even be possible. After all, Trump was a former president, a highly influential figure, and Jack was just a young soldier from a small town. But Jack's family wasn't about to give up. They reached out to anyone who might be able to help, starting with the local government, veterans organizations, and military support groups. Days turned into weeks as they fought to make this wish come true. Jack's story, filled with courage and hope, spread across social media, drawing attention from people all over the world. As the days passed, Jack's condition worsened. He lost weight, his skin became pale, and his once strong body seemed to wither. But his determination to meet Trump never faltered. He continued to speak about it with the same passion, even as his energy began to fade. Every morning, he would wake up and ask his family, "Did we hear from Trump yet?" Finally, after weeks of waiting, the call came. It was an official from Trump's team who had been following Jack's story. The call was short, direct, and to the point. "We've heard about your request. Mr. Trump has been moved by your story and would like to meet you." Jack could hardly believe it. The phone call ended with the promise that arrangements would be made for him to meet Trump at his home in Mar-a-Lago. The news spread quickly, and soon, media outlets began covering Jack's story. It was a moment of joy and excitement for Jack and his family, but it was also bittersweet. He was running out of time and the clock was ticking. The meeting was scheduled for the following week. Jack, with his family by his side, was flown out to Florida for the meeting. The day finally arrived, and Jack, despite his deteriorating health, was determined to make the most of it. He had always dreamed of meeting the man who had inspired him during his military career, and now his dream was about to come true. When Jack arrived at Mar-a-Lago, he was greeted by a team of people who made sure he was comfortable. His family was there too, feeling a mix of excitement and anxiety. They all knew that this meeting, this moment, would be something Jack would carry with him forever. And then he walked into the room. Donald Trump, in his signature suit and tie, was standing there waiting for Jack. His expression softened when he saw the young soldier, frail and weak but filled with a light in his eyes that spoke volumes. Trump extended his hand, and Jack, with all the strength he could muster, stood up from his wheelchair to shake it. The moment was surreal. Jack had dreamed about this day, but now that it was here, he could hardly believe it. Trump, who had always been known for his bold persona, stood there, genuinely moved by the situation. His voice, usually commanding and confident, was soft as he spoke to Jack. "You're a true hero, Jack," Trump said. "Your courage, your commitment to this country, what you've done for America, for your fellow soldiers, it's truly inspiring. "I'm honored to meet you." Jack, overwhelmed with emotion, could barely respond. He simply nodded and managed to whisper, "Thank you, sir. It means everything to me." For the next hour, Trump sat down with Jack and his family, talking about the military, about life, and about the sacrifices that come with serving the country. Trump listened intently as Jack spoke of his experiences in the Army, the bond he shared with his fellow soldiers, and the pride he felt in wearing the uniform. In that moment, it wasn't about politics. It wasn't about what had happened in the past or what might happen in the future. It was about two people, one who had served his country with honor and one who had dedicated his life to supporting the men and women who served, connecting on a human level. Jack's wish had come true, and it was more than just a meeting. It was a moment of peace for Jack, a moment where he could feel truly heard and appreciated. As the meeting came to an end, Trump looked at Jack one last time and said, "You've made a difference. Your sacrifice will never be forgotten." Those words stuck with Jack long after the meeting. As he left Mar-a-Lago, he felt a sense of calm that had eluded him in his final months. His wish had been fulfilled, and he knew that, in his last moments, he had been able to meet the person who had inspired him and made a difference in the lives of so many others. Jack passed away just a few weeks after the meeting, but his story lived on. The image of him standing next to Trump, shaking hands, became an iconic moment, a symbol of the sacrifices made by soldiers and the power of human connection. The meeting wasn't just a gesture of kindness from Trump. It was a moment that reminded the world of the true cost of service, the importance of honoring our heroes, and the lasting impact of simple acts of compassion. Jack's story became a beacon of hope and inspiration, reminding everyone that sometimes even the smallest acts of kindness can make the biggest difference. For Jack, meeting Trump was more than just a final wish. It was a moment of peace, a moment that would forever be etched in his memory and in the hearts of all who heard his story.